Come on in, Periscope. Come on in, Periscope. Come on in. Welcome to my Periscope. Welcome, Periscopers, all my Periscope followers. Welcome, Magnetic Networking Live. You guys that are watching live, and you guys are going to see this on replay. If this is your very first time hopping into my Periscope, my name is Anthony Abron, affectionately known by my friends as the Magnetic Networker. And I was really wanting to get on here. It's been a while since I've been on here. Actually, I'm usually get on about 7 o'clock in the morning, but lately things have been really, really hectic in my mornings and with business. And so admittedly, I haven't been there. So I apologize for not being there for you guys, but it's not without good reason. Now, over the past weekend, I was blessed and had the opportunity, my family and I, to celebrate my grandmother's 90th birthday, her 90th birthday. And we had a tremendous celebration. I mean, there were friends and family that came in from all over the country. I mean, they came over from California. They came away from far away as they were all over Texas. And it was a beautiful thing to see that. And it was a surprise party too. So I got to see, my grandmother didn't know about it. And because so many people came in, we had people from, I got to see my, first, second, and third cousins. So it was like a mini family reunion. And so if you can imagine, everyone there, everyone's dressed nice. It's a really elegant event. And we got inside, we had a nice hotel. And anyway, my grandmother was just really, really floored. And she was just, I think, I don't think the tears ever stopped all night. And that was just a beautiful thing. And so everyone had opportunity, several of us had opportunity to get in front and present and share a message and share a word with my grandmother. And when I got up there, quite honestly, I was thinking there's so many great things that my grandmother has done for me, but maybe one of the most impactful things that she had done for me was there was a time when I had gone down to my grandmother came from we lived out in the country in West Texas, like this little small little podunk, oil town called Crane, Texas. And she was been in Crane for easily, if she's 90, she's easily been there for 70 years, 70 plus years. And I remember going down there, and one of the things I love about going to see grandmother is in the kitchen, she got this little tiny house, this little wood frame house. And in the kitchen, there's a back porch there. And right in the kitchen next to the porch is a table. And my grandmother will sit at the table and, we'll sit down there. It's not a big place, a little table, and sit down and talk to grandmother. And just so happened that there was this one point where I went down, some years ago, I went down in Crane. I needed to get away from what was happening in my life. And I sat down there and I was talking to grandmother. So I began to ask her, I said, Grandma, tell me a little bit about, hey, welcome Tamika. Thanks for the hearts. I said, Grandma, tell me a little bit about how things were when you were coming up. Good morning to you. Good morning. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for the love. Just sharing a little quick story about my grandmother. So I sat down at the kitchen table and I asked Grandma, I said, Grandma, tell me a little bit about how it was when you were there. And the reason why that spawned this question, previously I had asked her, for those of you that don't understand what Crane is like this little town, maybe no more than less than 4,000 people in the entire town. Actually, I think it's less than 3,000. And there's this wall in the back. You guys there's a wall about 3 streets up from my house. And I've always saw that wall there for years. So I asked Grandma, I said, Grandma, why do they have that wall there? And she said, babe, that wall used to separate the black people from the white people. And I was like, what? And so she began to tell me the stories of, I'm like, really? I said, they had a wall? And she said, yeah, there was a wall. They tried to put a wall and separate the blacks on one side and, the whites on the other. So amongst the many stories that she was telling with me, there was this one story that was, all of them were profound, but this particular one right here really just touched my heart, and I had to share it that day to everyone. And she said, there was a time, see, my grandmother was up, basically she became a single mother early on, and she was a single mother of 5 kids. And eventually she had 6 children, but she had 5 kids, and she was working at the time 2 part-time jobs. One of her jobs was working at the all-white hotel, and she washed clothes there, she folded clothes there. She was basically the equivalent of what you see happening right now in of staff in a hotel. She did that for the local hotel, and she was making about $1 an hour. And so she was like, and things were tough on her. So what she did was she went to her boss and she said, it was a female, I can't remember her name, but she says, ma'am, I'd like to get a raise. And the lady said, well, how much? She said, well, I would like to have a 25-cent raise. And the lady told her, no. And my grandma said, well, you don't understand, I do a lot of work here. I spend a lot of time here. I really put in a lot of effort, and I'll have 5 kids, and that extra quarter would really be able to help us out. She says, and this is how my grandmother said, she said, I ain't paying you no 25 cents. And, what you gonna do? You got all them kids, you're single by yourself, you better be happy for this job. Right then and there, my grandmother said, you know what? I've been very loyal to you, and I've been really working really hard for you. And this is how you treat me? She said, you know what? I'm gone. I said, what you gonna do? You got all them kids, you gonna be back. She said, right then and there, she said, God gave me those kids. And if he gave me those kids, he gonna take care of me. And she left. She said, well, as she left, she said, I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I just knew I wasn't gonna come back there. And I had no idea where the money was gonna come from. I needed to feed the kids and pay my bills, and it was tough. But she said, I had to lean and depend on what God was going to do for me. So she went back and she told her friends what she doing. She had a couple of friends, and she said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. She said, she went around and she knocked on a couple of doors, and she said, hey, I'm now washing clothes for my house. Can I wash your clothes for you? To her surprise, white people from other part of the town began to come to my grandmother and place their clothes at her front door for her to wash. Other friends began to tell about her services, and they came and placed their clothes at her door. And my grandmother began to wash and fold the clothes, and she had several clients. She got so popular that she was making more than the 25 cents that she was asking for. Actually, she more than doubled her income. And the lady came back to her. She said they tried to replace her. And the lady came back and said, listen, I'm sorry I said that to you. Will you please come back? My grandmother said, no, I won't come back to you because you didn't treat me with respect when you had me. Now, in that moment that my grandmother was telling me that story, what she didn't realize was the hell that I was going through in my own personal life. And what she didn't realize was that her story and her words were strengthening me like never before. See, at that point in time in my life, I had just lost my wife to divorce. I had lost my home. I had lost my car. I had lost my big corporate job. And life had knocked me down to where I was now a penny per mile truck driver. And at that moment when she told me that, I had desires and dreams of being a business owner. I always had that. But when she told me that, it gave me strength. It gave me power to know that that pedigree of strength and faith ran deep into my blood. And I began to get encouraged like you would not believe. And so I went back. So from that story, I went back and I began to look differently at the job that I had. And I began to look around and say, wait a minute, I've got opportunities. I'm not limited by the beliefs of someone else or what someone thinks my worth and my value is. I know that there's more because I had to entrust in the Creator who put it inside of me, who made everything. So my words of encouragement to you this morning is that just like my grandmother, she stepped out and she began to walk in faith towards the greater that she knew was inside of her. You too have greater. See, somebody out there that is watching this, maybe you're going through something. Maybe in your business, your upline maybe left you. I have the feeling that somebody out there, your upline left you. Maybe your job is kicking your butt and you don't understand. And you're like, how am I going to make it? I have to keep this. And they're putting so much pressure on you. You're just not happy. It's oil and water. I just want to encourage you this morning to understand that you can make it. Everything that you need is around you. All the tools and the pieces, just like that old TV show, MacGyver. You put MacGyver in the jail cell, and if MacGyver got a hold of a paper clip, he was gonna find his way to pick that lock and get out of there. He could take bubblegum and shoestring and create a weapon that was more powerful than his adversary. You have everything that you need around you. You just need to be encouraged and tap into that faith. So I want to tell you guys right now, you are bigger than the problems that you believe you face right now. And understand, even the hell that you may be going through right now, it's just a season. It does change. It does get better. As for me, I left there encouraged from that kitchen table, speaking with my grandmother. I knew that there was more, and I began to take a different approach to my business. So that job, shall I say, and that job transformed into different levels. It actually became my very first. I ended up getting my own company. I developed that into another level within the transportation industry, and I had greater success. And everything that was taken from me was given back twofold. And I stand to you guys as a living witness that you can go to the very, very bottom as long as you land on your back and you keep your feet and your faith planted in the power. Ain't no way you're going to lose. So thank you guys for checking me out. Thank you for listening every morning. Thank you for the hearts and the love. Thank you for sharing. If this message, you felt this message was something, I don't know, if you like it, then I ask you and I encourage you to share it. Share it on your Twitter. If you share it on Twitter, I'll make sure I follow you back. But you can be the gateway to someone's breakthrough. I don't really want to get... Whew. Thank you for being here. And as always, I'll leave you guys with this. Sow good seeds. Do good work. Reap then teach to repeat. Till next time.